Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this September the 19th, 2025, noontime cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, most importantly, gold and silver bullion video that you've come to expect, love, need, and deserve. And as we continue to harp and as we continue to educate and grow together as a community and as a group to become asset millionaires, we see again the Federal Reserve reduced rates yesterday. The U.S. dollar has had a slight uptick, but the gold and silver bullion market yesterday had a slight sell-off in the bullion and in some of the mining stocks, but you can see it's had ferocious buying, as anytime there's slight profit taking or selling, the buyers and the algorithms are buy now, as central banks around the world have bought by the truckloads in China, right? Japan, some areas in South America, just about 20,000 ounces of silver, right? They're buying physical bullion, they're remonetizing their reserves, they're stacking up because they understand what's actually happening. They're selling dollars and they're buying physical bullion. You can see gold spot price hit 36.71. It's up just over 0.75%. Futures got back above 3,700. Silver has been the biggest mover today, up 2.22%, up to $42.17. B2 gold is up to 444. Fortuna silver is up 2%. First Majestic had a sell-off yesterday. It's having one of the bigger moves today, up 5%. Kinross gold is at 23.19, up 4%. Barrick gold, the biggest mover of the day, and this is huge. When you see that one of the biggest gold companies out there moving 10%, that is significant to have a major company of this size to move that much in one day. Very significant. Hecla Mining, after being down 4 or 5% yesterday, is up. Rivian slightly down. Dolly Vartman, after being down 8 or 9% the last couple of days, has made 50% of that back today. Right, so the physical bullion is moving where we would expect it. If we look at where the treasuries are, the bonds, the 10-year bond is up 0.5%, and the 30-year is up 0.68%, sitting at 4.75% and 4.137% interest, respectively. Nobody's going to buy that. The government's going to have to come in next year, and that is our theory on what's going on. And you can see the Bitcoin price is down 1%. The Ethereum price is down 2.5% almost. The XLM and the XRP, the Algo, the XCN, the XDC, and the HBAR are roughly around 2% down today, as it's digesting the monetary policy changes. And it's trying to bake into what it thinks is going to take place under future monetary policy with a new Fed next year. And you can see the Bitcoin price is sitting there actually coming down off its high. It was up earlier. It's now down, and it's been trading up and sideways just along this 3.5-year pattern support and resistance. You can see right now we're just above the 50-day moving average, but just below the 3.5-year rising channel support. Right, so we're going to continue to watch how this happens this weekend. Do we stay below this and head farther south? Do we get back above it and head towards the old all-time high at about 124,000? That is right there. Or are we just going to continue to trade sideways, right? We know where the support and resistance is if we trade sideways. We know where the major overhead all-time high is at 124,000. But if this decides to take and change the structure of the pattern at any point and breaks down, you would at first look at the 200-day moving average, and then this underneath 95,000 and change, and that's what we're looking at. But going on, what you need to know to understand to become, and why you're here most importantly, is to become an asset millionaire. And it's not easy to become an asset millionaire. Nobody said it was easy. You're going to watch people have fun and spend money and look rich when they're really poor, and then in the future they're going to have nothing, versus you, like I do, you're going to self-sacrifice now for pleasure now, for future pleasure later. That is what savings and investing is all about. Sacrificing things now for future pleasure and play. When you reap the rewards and the dividends check in, right? That's the most important thing, is I believe we're in a depression already, as we've had depressed growth forever. Unemployment is rising. The national debt is obviously at an all-time high. I believe the 1930s, going between 1928 and 1930, there's going to be a sovereign debt crisis around the world, and you're going to have a financial collapse. And it's going to be bad. You have to be prepared. And being out of debt is the most important thing you can do, to have no debt and to be investing and to have hard assets that go up under chronic dollar depreciation. And when you have debt, it heightens your risk of when financial problems happen. And that's what I'm preparing myself for, with adequate cash, adequate hard assets in real estate and stocks and gold bullion and ETF and mining stocks, with no debt, and because I'm getting ready and prepared, right? Debt, average household debt, 105 to 152,000. Total U.S. household debt, 18.4 trillion. Average personal non-mortgage debt, $22,700 an average person, taking away their mortgage. Savings, median household checkings plus savings plus money market. The average, right in the middle, $8,000 is what, if every 6 out of 10 people you look at, they're going to have $8,000 or less in their savings account, right? And the mean, the average is 62,000 in your savings, but the median, meaning the average, the median of the average, right? So there's high people that have higher savings, but most people have less. So you might have 80% of the people with $5,000 to $20,000 in savings, and then 20% of the people with, say, 250,000 or more weighing up, right? Just making numbers in the show you. Under 35, savings vary a lot by age. Mean balance, under 35, less than 20,000. 35 to 44. So I'm right in the middle of this age group, and they're saying the average person in the savings in this age group where I'm at, and I'm at 39, only have $42,000 in savings. I mean, that's not good. And then pile up all the debt, your mortgage debt, your credit cards that the average person would have. That is not good. And look at this in retirement, the average savings, like cash, this is meaning $100,000. It's not good at all, right? It's not good. Retirement age, average retirement savings at 70. Then this means everything. $609,000. Median savings, more typical, $200,000. Average 75 plus, $462,000, but the median of that is only $130,000. So you can see the vast majority of people in retirement have no money, right? They have less than $200,000. More than likely still have a mortgage and outstanding consumer debt. You can't retire that way. It's not possible, right? That's why it all starts with a mindset. It all starts with education and information. And it all starts with self-sacrificing and living below your means, buying a home below your means, and driving cars below your means. Do you buy a new car? Absolutely not. Not for $70,000. That's going to lose 80% of its value in 5 years. Why would you do that? You're asking to be poor. You're asking to be setting your income money that you get every week on fire. That's right, on fire. You buy a used car. If you make, for simple math, $100,000 a year before taxes, buy a used car for no more in cash than $20,000. It's got to be 20 or less, and you have to pay cash. It's the only way you can do it, right? And don't rush into it. Look, make sure you find a high-quality, reliable car. Look up the brands. Look up the car that you're buying. Get educated on what you're about to spend a significant amount of money on a car, and make sure it is actually reliable. Is it known to have engine or transmission problems, right? Look those up before you buy it. Don't buy something you know is going to have an engine problem at 80,000 miles and spend 20 grand on it. Don't do that. Buy the cars that the probabilities say last longer, right? And that's what we're all about here, and that's what the education is about. You can see the Ethereum is still sitting just above the 4104 and the 50-day moving average, and we talked about that earlier. What could happen if it breaks the 4104? You'd be looking at a 3476. If we look at AMP, it's trying to make a little bit of a pump. You can see it bounced just above the critical, about year and three-quarter major support, but again, the overhead moving averages that have been beating this thing down for months since January, continue to beat it down, and it looks like it's going to continue to win. And we have to, in order to start turning the rounding bottom, which you can see if we zoom out, the track shows the rounding bottom where we should be bottoming right now. You can see that where both tracks show the bottoming. We're not as far down as the bottom showed, but it's showing this is where the rounding bottom should take place. And then as we go into 2026, we should start seeing signs of life as everything starts to die at early parts of winter, as you can see there in just a couple of months. And I can't believe this already. Next month is October, and then November, starting the wintertime season here in the great state of Michigan. If we look at the DGBs, the same thing, but it's been holding up slightly better than AMP, but it's been in the same downward pressure for about a year with the overhead moving averages, actually since about the first of the year. And you can see we're just below the critical horizontal left to right 0.00838. It's very important to stay on top of that, to stay short-term bullish, and obviously, like AMP, get above these three long-term moving averages in the daily time frame. But until you can do that, you're going to continue to be bearish and continue to get beat down, and it continues to bring in what's down there in the circle, the 0.00557, into very realistic range. If we can avert that and switch the overall what's been going on, as you can see, we're in a massive cup and handle potentially, where you have your first top and forming the cup, your rounding bottom forming the bottom of the cup, your double top locally forming the overhead neckline, and then that down and sideways handle in a rising channel. And you guys know from the gold and silver bullion market, these are very bullish patterns. And this is in the macro time frame. This has been going on since mid and late 2024, so well over a year, going on a year and a half. These are very bullish patterns, and it's actually a technical target. It's all the way up here at 0.096, which is a long way away from where you're at now. And that's what I do have 160,000 or 170,000 DGB and just over 1 million AMP. And these are what I'm playing, the two patterns, because I believe that the biggest gains in the altcoin game, when it does start to pop, are going to be these two coins, the DGB and the AMP. I don't consider XLM and XRP altcoins, just in case you're asking about that. And speaking of the XRP, you can see we're sitting just below the 307. It actually got some resistance earlier today from the last video. You can see we got some resistance. And as long as we're below that 307, we would continue to be short-term bearish. You can see this Reef Mountain double top. We're going to look to hold support on the 296, which is the 50-day moving average. If we can't, the 283 and the 255 come into play. If we can break the 307, like we talked about earlier today, the 333 and the 366 regional highs on the way up come into play. The H-bar, if we take a quick peek, and then I got to let you go, it's still sitting here declining, but it's just over the 50-day moving average, which is bullish decline in the short term to get bullish. But you're going to find out here very quickly this weekend, can you hold the 50? If you can't, you're coming down to the 200-day moving average at 21 cents. If you can hold it, you can try to make a run back up towards the 34 cents. But that's going to have to wait and see approach. Like the channel, subscribe. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just showing you what I'm personally doing with my own personal finances and money to invest and to become an asset millionaire. And if you would like to join, hit that free subscribe button. It helps move us through the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to become a member of Jabroni Killers to keep these videos coming out daily for free with the truth and trust and education, it's as cheap as $3.99 a month that it starts at to support the channel. Peace and love. Much appreciated to each and every one of you. The Rock's Eyebrow, Jay.